Hello, I'm Virginia Delegate Bob Brink from the 48th District in Arlington and McLean, and this is my 6th weekly video update from the 2013 General Assembly session. As we go into the final week of the session, I wanted to give you a brief tour of where I spend most of my time when I'm not in committee or on the floor. My office on the 7th floor of the General Assembly building, or the GAB as it's called down here. Our offices wrap around a conference room whose name gives this part of the building the designation of 7 West. It's largely a Northern Virginia enclave up here. My next door neighbors are Patrick Hope from Arlington and Charnel Herring from Alexandria. And there are delegates from all corners of Fairfax County who have their offices up here. During the session, the walls of the building are decorated with artwork from home. Every year, the art class at Yorktown High School in Arlington provides pieces for the walls in the waiting area outside my office. This year's student contributions explore storytelling through the medium of relief printmaking. Several years ago, I moved to a corner office on the 7th floor with a sweeping view of Broad Street and downtown Richmond. The most prominent feature of this view is the new United States Courthouse for the Eastern District of Virginia. The building opened in 2008. It was designed to provide a bridge between Richmond's Broad Street commercial area, which is being reinvented as an arts district, and the Capitol Square seat of state government. Off to the right, across Broad Street, is the Library of Virginia, which opened in 1997. The new building replaced an Art Deco structure on Capitol Square, which is now called the Patrick Henry Building and houses the working offices of the governor and his cabinet secretaries. Right across the street from the GAB are 2 parcels of land that occupy much of my attention as a member of the subcommittee that oversees state property. One of them is an unsightly half block surrounded by a chain link fence which is being used as a parking lot. The other is the 9th Street office building off to the left. The 9th Street building was built in 1904 as the Hotel Richmond, and with its location right across from the Capitol was the hub of a great deal of political activity. In later incarnations, it served as the office building for the General Assembly. Because it had been a hotel, every office had its own bathroom, and it said that the members stored their files in the bathtubs. Now it's boarded up and deteriorating, and we need to determine the best use for that property as well as for the parking lot parcel. Now, the General Assembly building isn't all about nice views and historic buildings. This past week, all of the bathrooms on the west side of the GAB have been closed due to this building's failing infrastructure. It's not just the plumbing. Every one of the building's systems is in trouble. It has unpredictable heating and air conditioning, bad ventilation, asbestos in some parts of the building, and elevators that pretty much work on their own schedule. So this week, the plumbers have been tearing up the plaza in front of the building as a warning to the members that the General Assembly building has outlived its usefulness. As the members, staff, and visitors to the GAB deal with that indignity, we're trying to wrap up a number of outstanding issues before next week's scheduled deadline. In addition to the budget, we saw positive movement this week on transportation. The Senate came forward with a transportation plan that's both more robust and more realistic than the governor's proposal, which the House endorsed pretty much completely a few weeks ago. And it also contains regional packages to address the greater transportation needs of Northern Virginia and Hampton Roads. Now the House and Senate versions will go to a conference committee where members from both chambers will work to fashion a consensus plan. I'm hopeful that we may finally get something done on transportation this year. One reason is that the Transportation Conference Committee has strong representation from Virginia's metropolitan areas. The portion of Virginia that starts up in Loudoun County and goes down to Richmond and east as far as Virginia Beach is called the Golden Crescent. Even though it's grown tremendously in population over the past few decades and is really the economic engine that drives the Commonwealth's prosperity, the cities, suburbs, and exurbs of the Golden Crescent haven't always gotten their fair share, particularly when it comes to distribution of transportation dollars. I'll give you one reason. The transportation dollars from the Commonwealth are distributed by the Commonwealth Transportation Board. That's the body that determines where transportation dollars will be spent across the Commonwealth. But the seats on that board are allocated in a formula that dates back to 1932, when the state's economy was largely agricultural and rural interests dominated. 80 years ago, the population of Fairfax County was 25,000, barely 1% of Virginia's population. But now, over 1 million people, 1 out of every 8 Virginians, live just in Fairfax County, not to mention the rest of Northern Virginia and the Golden Crescent as a whole. This week there was a bill to make the allocation of seats on the Commonwealth Transportation Board a little more fair to the metropolitan areas. It went down by the narrowest of margins in the House. Even though progress will be incremental and will suffer additional defeats like the one this last week, the trend is clearly in the direction of greater sensitivity to our needs in Northern Virginia and other metropolitan areas of the state. As always, please feel free to contact my office if you have any questions or concerns. My email is delegatebrink@gmail.com. I hope you'll visit my website, bobbrink.org, like me on Facebook, or follow me on Twitter @delbrink. I appreciate your taking the time to watch my video update, and I look forward to keeping you informed over the next several weeks. Again, this is Delegate Bob Brink, and thanks for watching.